Have you faced the truth that Mr. P is evil? I'm sticking to that, but it could be that he's innocent. But it's only a matter of time before all truth is revealed. With Piggy Chapter 8 coming out soon, and for a fact it's going to involve Mr. P, this is going to make or break how we personally feel about Mr. P, if he's good or evil. But in today's video, we are going to be talking about a potential boss fight. So sit back, relax. If you do enjoy, feel free to leave a like and share this video. It is much appreciated and shows your support for the channel. And make sure to click the notification bell. It will let you know when I upload a brand new video. But with that being said, let's get straight into it. Okay, if Mr. P was to ever find me, I think he would actually kill me. He would just make me drink all the potions and I would probably turn aggressive, and then it just would not be good, because I've been calling Mr. P evil from the get-go. It's just something about him. As much as I love french fries, it's something about the mustache and it's something about the hat. Also, the odd appearances of him every time there is a character that turns aggressive who's at the end of the episode or chapter, Mr. P. So that's just my theory, that's just my thoughts. I'm sticking to that. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is a potential boss fight. Now, who knows if this boss fight may be chapter 8, or who knows if this boss fight may be chapter 12. I would love your feedback on this, and I will also share my personal opinions on this, and also confirming something, that this boss fight is actually on the radar for Minitoon. Minitoon, the creator of Piggy. So there was actually a message from Minitoon, again, who created Piggy, and says, I think someone asked him about, you know, a chapter or a boss fight, and he replied saying, a boss fight of sorts. Yes. So with that being said, I'm just gonna use this and kind of work off of it, because this is something that I actually did not even think about. I think when I was just playing Piggy, I was enjoying it, enjoying the story, but didn't really think about a boss fight or think about, okay, is there going to be something bigger? I've really gotten into the story a lot, and I love these theories of what can happen, what might happen, what could potentially happen in this chapter that leads to that chapter, and just kind of a spiral effect. I tend to do that every time, even when I'm watching shows. I finish a show and I want to know what happens in the next show, and then I kind of start brainstorming on what might happen in the next show. And again, it's a good feeling when you are actually close or right. And a lot of you guys are thinking on the same page as well. A boss fight would be amazing. And again, it's something that was mentioned. So I want to talk about who could these bosses be. Now, this is just based off what we know from chapter 1 to chapter 7, not 8 yet. But yeah, this is what we know. This could potentially change depending on how chapter 8, 9, 10, 11 may be. But I'm thinking either the boss fight could be chapter 8, would be awesome, or chapter 12. So I personally think I would see a boss fight. I would like to see a boss fight at the very end. But then that would mean that the chapters are potentially over for the moment. So I know the original plan is to go to chapter 12, but who knows how the story goes. Things change, guys, and it doesn't, you know, chapter 12 I don't think is set in stone just yet. And who's to say that, okay, something happens and then it gets an extended kind of, you know, lead on, and it's going to be a chapter 13 or a chapter 14, chapter 15, and goes on to 21. We just don't know that yet. But boss characters, from what we know, who could they potentially be? Now, my first, of course, initial thought would be Mr. P. My idea is that Mr. P is going to reveal himself at the very end of chapter 12, or it could be chapter 8. But I don't think Mr. P is such a good lead-on character, and it's causing so much talk around Mr. P that I don't think that it will be straight solved in chapter 8 before the chapters are over. But who knows, it could happen. But my theory would be that Mr. P at the very end, you realize, is again evil. That's when it could be revealed. Maybe there'll be clues and stuff leading up to it, and then Mr. P is evil, maybe betrays you in the end and actually reveals its true self. I would say it because who knows, it could be something inside of Mr. P, or Mr. P, this is just like an outfit on Mr. P. It's actually someone else. And I know George is also missing. Again, if we look back in chapter 3, the gallery, on the wall you can see like George was missing, and last seen with red eyes. But who's to say that Mr. P doesn't have George kidnapped. That's also something too as well. Maybe George is actually the good one trying to, cure things, and then Mr. P's the evil one, so actually kidnap George, and now George is missing. It's a lot of things that can possibly happen. Also, I want to throw into the fact that it could maybe be Bunny. Those are my two thoughts here. Mr. P as a boss or Bunny as a boss. Let's say we don't see Bunny anymore after chapter 7 Metro. I don't know, what else is planned for Bunny, but let's say we don't see it, and then Bunny comes back in the end, and Bunny is the actual evil one. I'll have a video covering up my thoughts on Bunny before chapter 8, so be on the lookout for it. It's going to be really good, and yeah, there's some details that's going to be in that video that you're going to really enjoy. So with that being said, it could be, let's say, Bunny, or it could be Mr. P. I would love to see Mr. P as a boss reveals its true self, and let's say it's some massive shadowy monster or something like that. Just a thought. But what if it's like a massive, or what if, I don't know what Mr. P could actually be behind Mr. P, but a boss fight would be extremely cool, even if they added things like paths. So like, let's say there was options you had to choose, because they are paving their own way with Roblox Piggy. Like, they're doing such a good job at making this their own. Like, I know it's kind of based off Granny, but they've done such a good job at separating it from Granny. Like, I think now when people think about Roblox Piggy, they don't really think about Granny, and that's amazing. Of course, at first, because it was similar to the same concept, but now they're definitely paving their own way, and I'm really enjoying it. So who's to say that, again, George isn't actually infected, but Mr. P has George captured? That's something that could be there. Or again, who's to say that we will not get this boss fight in chapter 8 instead of chapter 12? I mean, chapter 12 makes more sense for a boss fight, because that was the original plan to, I think, go to chapter 12, but that's something to also think about. A lot of people are also commenting that maybe Doggy may be a boss, but I was thinking that I don't know if Doggy would be a boss. I don't know if Doggy would be, I think everyone loves Doggy, but thinking about characters that we're really attached to right now, I think Bunny or Mr. P would be really likely in this time frame. I mean, when you think about it, when you think about characters that were really kind of, Bunny's been with you for a while, Mr. P's been like this mystery character that we kind of don't know anything about, but we still know he's evil. But something like that could possibly happen at the very end, where it's like, Bunny, I thought you were innocent, and then Bunny turns out to be evil, and it could be something like that. But then Mr. P's been trying to heal Bunny. I don't know. There's a lot of things, or trying to find this cure. There's still some things here, which the more chapters that come, the more will actually reveal. And I'm really excited about chapter 8, because again, we know for a fact that Mr. P is going to be in this episode. But some of you guys also did comment. Again, like, your theory is also thinking that, maybe there's a boss fight around chapter 12 or chapter 10. Chapter 10 is also a pretty good one too, but everyone's really thinking it can be chapter 12, a boss fight. I think that would be incredible if it was. So yeah, a lot of you guys are gonna also agreeing that Mr. P is the one that made all of this happen, and Mr. P is making the town infected so he can be the boss of the city. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on, but a boss fight is definitely in the plans, I believe. It's just a matter of who the boss is going to be. So this is where I would love to hear your feedback down below in the comments. Do you think which I'm pretty sure we will get a boss fight. Definitely. I think Minitoon mentioned it. I think a lot of people really want a boss fight, and it will be awesome. Do you think it would be George? I mean, we only had a few clues of George since it started, and then the gallery, then the house. Do you also in the station as well? Do you think it's going to be Mr. P? Do you think it's going to be Bunny? Who do you think it's going to be? I know Pedro Pony is definitely coming as well in the next episode, which I talk about chapter 8 more in the previous video, but this is mainly focused around the boss fight. So let me know what you all think. I'm really curious to what you think about a boss fight coming to Piggy. Again, it's not that far off, and we're closing in on chapter 8, and then before you know it, we'll be on chapter 12, and we'll be fighting a boss. So let me know your thoughts on that. If there was a boss in Piggy right now, who would you say it is? Again, this might change the closer we get, so maybe we will revisit this at some point if there's a character that arises that we can definitely see is the boss. But for now, stick with Mr. P, Bunny, or George. If you had to choose, who do you think it's be, and who do you think it would be? And if you do have your own character on who you think it might be, you may think it's Doggy, let me know down below in the comments. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, if you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like and share it. Also, feel free to subscribe for more, and if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!